Okay, so for the front end, the first thing I guess is the API. I have this API to get a word and to compare letters, right? And I've structured it in this way where I say this is my endpoint API words, and I export the endpoints and export my imported endpoints here, create my API and export it. So pretty basic, right? Then I have the app.js that is going to consume the API here. And it consumes it to get the word initially, or when I press, right? So where I do this, it gets the word, or if I press this button, it gets a different word every time. And then it's also going to be here, but the API is also going to be used by the letter. When I compare, I send my letter, right? API words, compare letter, and I can see that it just needs a letter. So the basic functionality, let me see. We'll start. We'll start by saying, I guess, that I'm using context to pass data around, right? First of all, this is a React hook, and I use hooks all over. It's cleaner. I have different states and different functions here on the main application. Those are the handle, the length changes, and which I set here, right? Makes use of these states. I'm changing fetch and start. It's one of the main functions here, but because it sets a lot of the stuff and resets the game. And this is fired at the beginning, right? This is the initial use effect when the component loads. And with the context, my context, which is rather simple thing, right? I'm just using it to pass the values down. For example, the alphabet uses this letter, but I'm not passing anything through here. But letter is extracting it from context and using it. So alphabet, you can see how it works. For each row, it creates a letter, etc. I have also the canvas component, which is this. The word display, remaining trials, etc. So it's well modularized. It's easier to keep. So the alphabet, as shown here, presents the alphabet row and a letter, and the letter handles a lot of the functionality, right? I get the compare letter, and I'm gonna get the mask word, which I said here on the parent, and it'll distribute it where necessary. Pretty much is gonna come to this word display. So I set it here using set mask word, and the word display is gonna consume the mask word. It sets the remaining trials, for example, right, which is getting from the server. Here in compare letter, when I go, let's say compare letter, it returns this data to mask word, right? This is the server side. It posts to compare letter, and mask word is letter and word is game one, and the remaining trials, and eventually the word metadata. It's going to send from the server whether the game is won. And yeah, I think that's it for the letter. And if the word metadata means that the game is ended. So because I only send it when the game is won, it's defined. It's set to null initially, and then it'll be either true or false. And once that is set on the server, once it's not null, meaning it's true or false, I will send it over here. And if I have it, I will set it here, and that will define it that will display it on the display metadata component, where I have different things, right? The word definition, and it's gonna, the actual word, and then the definition, and the synonyms, right? So definition, synonyms, and I draw a line if there's more than one definition. For example, let's see, word that has more than one definition. I'm trying to get one. This one, for example, strategy. You can see here on my backend, I'm logging in. And strategy, right? I draw this line here. Skin, I have a couple of definitions, but only one has synonyms. The second definition doesn't, so I just don't show it. That's the functionality that is here. So let me see the remaining trials. Those are rather more simple components, and I set the value that comes from the back end, which is set here, right? Set remaining trials, and I use that. I check if the game is won, etc. It's a functionality. I guess another interesting one. This just says my options, fills my options, and the min-max length component, right? So these values here, I'm telling I go from 3 to 15, or 3 to 20. And let me see, and I have a default value, 3 and 15 here. And yes, let me see what else I have here. I guess another interesting component would be the canvas, that it's actually drawing everything from scratch, and then it draws the pole, right? So have the different cases, and each draws a different thing. So this is the outer circle, and this would be the body, right arm, right leg, left leg, etc. And you see everything is from scratch here. I'm getting a canvas, context, creating the context, and drawing the pole, and drawing the draw canvas that also draws the pole. Needs to be in this order, I guess, for it to work. There's this new word button that, as I said, it fetches data and starts, and it's that fetch data and start is passed here, and it's the function definition lives here. And let me see if I'm missing something. The game mode is not being used at the moment. It was used on the first version. I guess I had a phrase mode also. I maybe incorporate that later. Display metadata. Yeah, I think that's it for now. Well, I guess there's the part of the CSS domain where I'm using this SCSS file to add my styles, right? And I have the index.css, which is a default file that sets other stuff. I guess boilerplate data. Then I have my environment variables only. I have this port API key. And that's a wrap.